Hi everyone, I'm Zoe C reporting for Kids First. Today I'm with Harry and Claire. How are you guys?
Doing very well, thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. So Back to the Outback is like a love letter to the beautiful country of Australia, which is where you guys are both from. So why did you feel it's just so important to tell the story, and what was your overall purpose?
I think sort of growing up in Australia, I grew up with a lot of those animals around, obviously koalas and kangaroos, but also the dangerous and deadly animals, the spiders, the snakes, and the lizards. And the purpose was to sort of to shine a spotlight on those animals, the ones who aren't perceived as cute and beautiful, but actually who are really lovely, often very gentle, kind, sweet animals. So it was to give them their moment and to show the world that these animals that some people think are scary are actually really lovely and fun and important.
And it's not often that some of these animals are seen, like a thorny devil lizard is not that well known. So by making these characters, we're hoping that people will research them and find out lots of interesting things that we've kind of put in there snakes, all of these things are all about perception as well. You think they're going to be deadly, but you can't judge a book by its cover. So all of our animals, you think they're going to be one way. Even the koala you think is going to be cuddly, but he's not necessarily that way at the beginning of the movie anyway.
Yes, I love those messages, and I think it's truly important to share across audiences. And as you said, I think it's a great learning experience for everyone watching to learn about an animal that they haven't heard of before. So it's like a win-win for everyone. And the storyline has a lot to do with nature, obviously, and the way we treat nature and interact with it as well. But the characters in the movie also have a lot of their own lives going on. Obviously, they're animals and they have feelings just as us humans. And so how did you kind of counterbalance everything and kind of intertwine every character's own stories along with the whole theme of the movie in general?
Well, I think the theme is, as Claire said, it's about not judging a book by its cover. It's always about looking beyond the surface and seeing what a person has inside. And these animals were great to choose as our heroes because we have a perception of them that they are dangerous and they are deadly. And so we actually wanted to lean into that perception, but at the same time, we wanted to use a lot of their characteristics to show the human side of them. Like, for example, Frank the spider. Spiders actually do have these very bizarre sort of mating dances. And so that was something that gave him a human quality, that he's this young guy who basically loves dancing. Zoe is this prickly, thorny devil lizard who are known for being great at camouflaging and escaping. So we wanted to make her as a character, the one who's the smartest, the one who knows how to escape, the one who's got all that sort of street cred and that sort of stuff. So it was a lot about bringing their animal characteristics into their human personalities to make them these extraordinary looking, but very relatable characters.
And also these animals travel together, they go on an adventure and they're looking for a home. And so there's also a core message about where home is and who your family is. Mm-hmm. And it's often the people that you travel with that are part of your family and your friends. So it's also a message about togetherness and, really kind of everyone has something special, and something special could save everything in the end.
Yes, I love that that's another message that delivers to the audience as well. So many amazing aspects of this film. And I love what Harry said about like the spider, and I thought the animation was beautiful, honestly. And I also love all the characters that we met so far. I've only seen 30 minutes of the film, but so far I've loved it, and I congratulate both of you because the film is truly beautiful. And all the textures as well, like the spider is a little fluffy. Mm-hmm. So which characters do you guys think was probably most difficult to animate?
The snake is well known in animation to be hard to animate. There's not a lot of snakes. There's Sir Hiss. There's a few snakes in animation from the past, but even in Kung Fu Panda, the snake there was really hard for animators to get the movement right. So that was quite a complicated thing that the animators just really did a great job with working, getting her to look good, to walk, to move. So there was a lot of, figuring that out. And then I think the other hard part was Pretty Boy trying to make him look the most beautiful koala in the world. That was another part, to try and get him to make sure he looked so beautiful. So there was a lot of work getting all of this onto the screen.
Yeah, particularly Maddie with the snake, as Claire said. I think also giving her that human quality, giving her gestures and expressions when you're dealing with a character that has no arms and no legs. And it was a lot of the time using her tail to be like an arm or something that she rests on, and giving her those qualities, that movement that really made her feel very relatable and lovable, which I think the animators did beautifully.
Absolutely. And while watching, you could definitely feel sympathy and empathy towards this beautiful snake. And really also, as you said, relate to the characters. I love the color palettes and like Zoe, the lizard with her spikes. Everything was just so spot on. And speaking of the characters, I loved all of them. It's Pretty Boy the koala was so cute. And I think all the characters I met so far, I've just fallen in love with them. So how did you guys, I guess, choose the characters that you wanted to mainly represent? I know that I guess tarantula is a very Australian thing.
Yeah, yeah, he's a funnel web spider, which is a very Australian thing. But we wanted to choose. We started off was like, this is Australia. This is a story about not judging others. So therefore, what are the two most extreme animals we can put on screen together? Who is the most beautiful Australian animal? It's a koala, and the most deadly Australian animal is a taipan. So that's where we started, so that they were the animals who had the two biggest differences, to show that if those two can overcome their differences to become friends, then anyone can. So once we started with that, then we started stacking out all the other deadly animals to around Maddie, which was the funnel web spider, the scorpion, and the thorny devil lizard, making them, the very uniquely Australian animal.
Yes, for sure. And also, how do you guys want to introduce Australia to the kids of the world, and how this animation represents your country? Actually, when I was younger, I used to watch like these YouTube videos. I forgot the guy's name now, but he traveled like across the world, especially like Australia. You guys have probably heard of him. If I remember the name, I'll tell you. But I do recognize some of the animals that he'd show in his videos in your film. So how do you want, I guess we kind of already touched on this, but to really show the kids of the world this beautiful film and how it represents you guys?
I think the first thing that brings them in is Australia. They're seeing a place that they've obviously heard about, but they're seeing us in a way now they may not have seen it before. They're seeing animals animated that they wouldn't have seen animated before, these bizarre looking animals. And I think that'll be their first impression, which is great. It sort of draws them in. It's very interesting. They're incredibly interesting animals. And then once they're drawn into the story, I think, we'd like to sort of them to take away some sort of deeper messages about what the film, is about tolerance and prejudice and all of those things, and friendship and the importance of family.
And also Australia itself. We travel from the part you saw, we go out of Sydney into the Blue Mountains to the Jenolan Caves. There's just such a beautiful vastness as you go out into the outback. So we hope that people get to see that and experience it as they watch it.
Yes, when I watched the 30 minutes that I had seen, I actually didn't get to, not go to the Outback, obviously, but see that part of the film. It kind of ended when they were like about to go on like this huge mission. So I'm very excited though to see, because if I'm loving it so far, and this is like the peak, I am assuming that it's just going to get so much more interesting and more fun. It was already amazing, so very exciting. So I guess, how was the process of selecting the songs, and was it hard to synchronize them?
No, not really. We did at our very, very first screening, which was all just storyboards, we had put lots of different songs in. And as we evolved, we knew that was kind of what we wanted to do, a little like Guardians of the Galaxy, where you had songs that helped you to know what was going on next and connected. And then we wanted to use a lot of Australian artists. Evie Iree is a great, the first song that comes in, we have a song there that she wrote for us. And that, we have music that I think helps to help you go from one place to the next and gives it a nice rhythm and keeps you moving forward on the journey. It was a conscious choice to have as much nice and good artists, great artists in there from Australia.
Yeah, and as a parent myself, watching animated movies with my kids, which I really love doing, but I love songs that I recognize as well. I don't want, it to be all sort of from one generation. And I think what we wanted to do was, have songs that their parents would know and love as well, and then introduce some of these new contemporary artists like Evie Irene and Thelma Plum and G Flip, these up and coming rising stars. So it was getting that sort of nice balance across the generations.
And Billie Eilish was there from that first screening. That was always there. We kind of worked that whole scene around that song because it seemed perfect for our movie.
Yes, I love that. I love talking to you guys, and I love the film. I think this film is so unique, not only because of like the storyline, the characters, and the animation, but because of the messages and how educational it is. Just so much, and I can't wait to finish it, honestly. Thank you guys so much for talking with me. I really had a blast, and I'm super excited.
Thank you, Zoe. Thanks.
Bye.
You know what this means? You don't hate me anymore.
I'm a Capricorn. I hate everybody.
Baby, it's wildlife, and baby, I'm a wild child.